The smell of smoke still haunted her dreams. Sometimes, even 5 years later, Kiera Han could swear she felt the heat licking up her skin, heard the roar of collapsing steel, the scream that tore through the flames. That night refused to die, no matter how much she begged it to. She woke again at 2:47 a.m., sitting bolt upright in her dark apartment. Rain beat against the window, soft but relentless. She pressed a trembling hand to her chest. "It's just a dream," she whispered to herself, "just a dream." But the scent of smoke was still there, and in the space between thunder and silence, she heard a man's voice, low, familiar, and full of regret. "You should have believed me." Kiera, her eyes snapped open. She turned toward the window with nothing but rain, and yet her heart raced, as if the past itself were standing outside, watching her. The Hanol Group headquarters gleamed like a glass temple against the Seoul skyline, 12 floors of ambition and quiet corruption. Inside, Kiera Han hurried through the marble lobby, her ID card bouncing against her chest as she clutched a folder of design proposals. She was an intern then, 22, bright, soft spoken, and hopelessly idealistic. She had no idea she was walking straight into the center of a family built on rivalry and lies. "Miss Han, you're late again," a voice teased behind her. Kiera froze. Recognizing it instantly, Eun-ho Kang, she turned, cheeks flushing. "I was waiting for the elevator." "That's what everyone says when they've overslept," he replied, a faint smile curving his lips. He wore a navy suit today, hair perfectly in place, eyes gentle but unreadable. He was everything his reputation promised: disciplined, charming, and the golden son of the Kong Empire. "You know, most interns avoid me," he said as they walked toward the boardroom. "Maybe they're scared of you," Kiera joked softly. "Are you?" "Should I be?" "Maybe," he murmured, holding the door open for her. "I tend to ruin people who get too close." She thought he was kidding. She smiled. After meetings, he would sometimes find her in the rooftop garden, sitting with a cup of vending machine coffee, her hair catching the sunset. He'd appear quietly, without warning. "Still working? Trying to understand your handwriting. It's not that bad. It's a crime against interns, sir." He laughed at the sound that would one day echo in her chest long after he was gone. Those evenings became their secret ritual. They would talk about dreams, about books, about everything except the war brewing within the company walls. It was on one of those evenings that she first saw him. Kiera had gone down to the archives, looking for a missing contract, when she felt someone watching her. When she turned, she almost dropped the file. It was Eun-ho. Or so she thought. "Mr. Kong. You startled me." But the man's eyes were different, colder, sharper, his tie loosened, his expression unreadable. "You're Kiera," he said, voice rougher, deeper. "Why, yes. You're Eun-woo," he replied simply. "The forgotten twin." Her breath hitched. She'd heard whispers about him, the rebel son who rejected the company, who disappeared for months on end, the black sheep of the Kong family. "I didn't know you were back," she said carefully. "No one does," he answered, looking around. "And I'd prefer to keep it that way." His gaze landed on her stack of files. "So, you're the intern my brother keeps around." "I just work here." "Does he know how easily you blush when someone says his name?" She flinched. "Excuse me?" He smirked. "Relax. I'm just observing. That's what ghosts do." And before she could respond, he was gone. Kiera started noticing things she hadn't before: how the executives whispered when the twins' names were mentioned, how Eun-ho's smile sometimes faltered when she asked about his brother. There were rumors of inheritance disputes, secret projects, missing funds, but Kiera was too caught up in her growing affection to see the cracks forming beneath their perfect world. One evening, she confronted him. "Kiera, you never talk about Eun-woo." "Eun-ho, because he's gone." "Kiera, he's alive. I saw him." A pause. "Eun-ho, stay away from him." "Kiera, why?" "Eun-ho, quietly, because he'll drag you into a fire you can't escape." She didn't understand what he meant then. She would. It rained that night, too. Thunder rolled low and heavy as Kiera stood outside the company gates, waiting for Eun-ho. He'd promised to meet her after work, Instead, she saw Unwoo, standing by a black car, his face half hidden by shadow. "You shouldn't be here," he said, "I'm waiting for your brother." "He won't come." "What are you talking about? You think you know him, don't you?" His voice cracked slightly. "He's not who you think he is, Kiera. And when the truth comes, it'll burn everything." She frowned, stepping closer. "Why are you saying this?" "Because someone has to warn you before it's too late." Lightning flashed, painting his eyes in silver. For a moment, she saw the pain there, the kind that doesn't fade. Then he turned away. "Tomorrow," he said under his breath, "the world will learn what kind of man my brother truly is." And then he disappeared into the night. Kiera didn't sleep at all. Something inside her told her he was right, but love, foolish and blind, made her ignore it. The next morning, the fire began, and everything changed. The night began with a storm. Rain hammered against the glass windows of the Kong Group Tower, each drop slicing through the darkness like shards of warning. The city outside was a maze of lights, blurred, trembling, unaware that history was about to catch fire. Inside the building, Kiera Han stood by the large glass wall of the design office, watching the lightning crawl across the sky. She pressed her palm against the cold glass and whispered, "He's late again." It had been hours since Eun-ho promised to meet her after the final board presentation. His phone was off. His secretary didn't know where he was. Something in her chest, small but sharp, began to twist. Then her desk phone rang. She jumped. "Miss Han." A voice said low. "Mail, urgent." "Yes, who is this?" "Leave the building. Now." Her pulse skipped. "Who?" "Just go. Before it's too late." Click. The line went dead. She stood frozen for a second, the hum of the rain filling her ears. Then she grabbed her bag and ran for the exit, but as she reached the stairwell door, boom, the lights flickered. Another boom, deeper, closer. The building shuddered. Her scream echoed up the stairwell. Smoke rolled like a living creature through the hallways, black, thick, suffocating. The sprinklers erupted, drenching everything in panic. Fire in the research wing. "Everyone out!" Someone shouted. Kiera covered her mouth and ran, coughing as the heat grew unbearable. Files and glass littered the floor. Sirens wailed above the storm's roar. She stumbled, tripping over fallen debris, and then strong arms caught her. "Kiera." It was Eun-ho. Corridor, Eun-woo. He was standing there, framed by the firelight, his expression unreadable, half sorrow, half rage. "Eun-ho." She gasped. "Your brother." "He stay back." Eun-ho turned sharply, spotting him. For a heartbeat, the twins stared at each other, mirror images in chaos. Lightning flashed, and Kiera saw it clearly: hatred, guilt, and something older than both. "You did this," Eun-ho growled. "You left me no choice," Eun-woo said, voice steady. "You're going to destroy everything." Everything was already burning, Eun-woo whispered. Kiera tried to move, but the heat was closing in. Flames crawled up the walls, swallowing everything in orange and black. "Kiera, please. Both of you stop." Eun-ho, "Kiera, go." Eun-woo, "No. She stays. She deserves to know the truth." Kiera turned, eyes wide. "Truth? What truth?" Eun-woo's jaw clenched. "The fire isn't an accident. It's revenge. For what your precious Eun-ho did 5 years ago." Eun-ho grabbed his brother's collar, slamming him against the glass. "Shut up. Tell her, brother. Tell her how many lives you buried for this company." "I said, shut up." Kiera's voice broke. "Eun-ho, what is he saying?" "Don't listen to him. He's trying to, lies." Eun-woo spat. "That's your talent. You lied to me. You lied to her. You lied to everyone." The glass behind them cracked from the heat. Eun-ho released him, stepping back, chest heaving. "You destroyed our family," Eun-ho said hoarsely. "No, brother," Eun-woo whispered. "You did." The sprinkler system failed, sparks flew from the ceiling. Kiera grabbed Eun-ho's hand, eyes full of tears. "Please, both of you, we have to go." He looked at her. Then at his brother. For a second, his face softened the kind of softness that comes when you know there's no way out. Go, Kiera, he said quietly, not without you. I'll find you. I promise. He pushed her toward the stairwell. She turned once, just in time to see Unwoo pulling something from his pocket, a remote trigger. No. She screamed. It's too late, he said, eyes burning. He has to pay. The explosion ripped through the corridor, glass shattered. The world went white, then, silence. When Kiera woke up, she was lying on wet asphalt outside the burning building. People were screaming. Fire trucks howled. She tried to stand, but her leg gave out. Unho. She whispered. No answer. Through the smoke, she saw a figure being carried away on a stretcher, face covered in ash, motionless. She ran, but someone grabbed her shoulders. Miss. You can't. That's him. She cried. That's Unho. Please let me through. But the paramedics shook their heads. I'm sorry, there's no pulse. Her world stopped, everything, the storm, the sirens, her own heartbeat went silent. She sat by the roadside, wrapped in a silver blanket, staring at the building that once held her dreams. The fire had taken it all, and with it, the man she loved. The police said it was an electrical fault, the company called it a tragedy, but deep down, Kiera knew it wasn't an accident. She saw Unwoo standing in the shadows across the street, untouched by the chaos, rain sliding down his face. Their eyes met. He didn't smile. He didn't speak, he just looked at her with a sadness that felt like a confession, and then he turned and disappeared into the night. That night, everything burned, the company, the secrets, her innocence, and the heart she could never reclaim. But fate wasn't finished with them yet, because the man she thought had died wasn't dead at all. The sky was still crying when morning came. Seoul's skyline, once silver and proud, now wore a coat of ash. The Kong Group Tower stood like a broken monument, windows blackened, its glass bones twisted by flame. Kiera Han sat on the curb, knees pulled to her chest, silver rescue blanket wrapped around her like a memory. Every muscle trembled, her throat burned from smoke and from words she hadn't said. She stared at the stretchers moving past her, black bags, covered faces. Each one could have been him, each one wasn't enough. Hours later, she sat in the sterile white of the hospital corridor, a bandage on her forehead, one shoe missing. A detective in a gray raincoat flipped through his notes. Miss Han, you worked under Director Kong, correct? Yes, she whispered. Do you have any idea how the fire began? No, he told me to leave before it started. He. Unho. The director. The detective sighed, closing his notebook. We found his ID badge near the east stairwell. The heat was intense. We believe he didn't make it out. Her eyes blurred. Believe? We'll confirm when DNA results come back. Believe, such a small, cruel word. 3 days later, the Kangs held a private memorial. The rain hadn't stopped since the fire, as if the heavens themselves refused to let go. Kiera stood in black, silent, watching the portraits lined on the altar. Unho Kong, beloved son, visionary leader, gone too soon. She clutched a white chrysanthemum in trembling fingers. When she laid it beside the frame, her tears finally fell. You said you'd find me, she whispered. You promised. A low voice behind her said, he wouldn't want you here. Kiera turned. It was Mr. Han, the board's chairman. His eyes were sharp, cold. The family doesn't wish for outsiders at private rights. I'm not an outsider, she said softly. To them, you are. She wanted to scream. But grief has a way of stealing even rage. 2 weeks passed. Kiera tried to return to normal, but every sound, every spark, made her flinch. One night, she broke. She went back to the ruins of the tower. The site was cordoned off, guarded by yellow tape. But she slipped through the back fence, the way she used to sneak in late for work. The air smelled of rust and rain. Her flashlight beam cut through the blackened debris until it landed on something half buried under metal, a locket. Her breath caught. She picked it up, charred, but still recognizable. It was the one she'd given Unho the night before the fire. Inside, she'd placed a picture of them, smiling under the rooftop garden lights. But when she opened it now, there was something else, a tiny flash drive wedged beneath the photo. Her pulse spiked. Back in her apartment, Kiera plugged the drive into her laptop. At first, nothing. Then folders. Hidden files, each labeled in Eunho's handwriting, Project Phoenix, Eunwoo, Witness A. Her hands trembled as she opened the first file. Security footage filled the screen dated the night of the fire. There, in grainy video, she saw two figures arguing near the server room. Eunho and Eunwoo. Eunwoo shoved his brother. Eunho tried to stop him. Identical to Eunho's, the next night, Kiera went back to the one place that still carried his voice, the rooftop garden. The air smelled of wet earth and faded roses. She waited in silence, heart pounding. Minutes passed, then she heard footsteps, slow. Certain, she turned. A tall figure stepped from the shadows, his coat dripping, his face half hidden by the dark, and when the lightning flashed, she saw him, same jawline. Same eyes. Same impossible familiarity. Her breath caught. Eunho. She whispered, the man's lips curved, not quite a smile, you shouldn't be here, Kiera. Her heart thudded, it's you. It's really you. No, he said softly, stepping closer. The man you knew died that night. His eyes glimmered not warm, but sharp, haunted. Then who are you? She asked. He leaned in, voice low and broken, the twin everyone thought was dead. The storm raged behind him, Kiera's world tilted, love, loss, and impossible truth colliding all at once, because standing before her wasn't a ghost, it was the man fate had sent back to claim what was once his, including her heart. The rooftop was soaked in moonlight and rain. For a heartbeat, the world stood still, the city far below, the hum of thunder in the distance, and two souls caught between love and ghosts. Kiera couldn't breathe. The man standing before her looked exactly like Eunho. The same sharp features, the same gaze that once made her heart skip. But his eyes. They were colder. Wilder. Like he'd been somewhere darker than the world could imagine. Eunho, she whispered again. He took a step closer, water dripping from his hair. Don't call me that. Then who are you? The corner of his lips twitched, not a smile, but a shadow of one. I told you. The one they buried. Lightning tore through the sky, illuminating his face, and in that flash, she saw a scar running from his temple down to his jaw. A mark she had never seen before. Her heart sank. Eunwoo. You remember, he said softly. Identical to Eunho's, the next night, Kiera went back to the one place that still carried his voice, the rooftop garden. The air smelled of wet earth and faded roses. She waited in silence, heart pounding. Minutes passed, then she heard footsteps, slow. Certain, she turned. A tall figure stepped from the shadows, his coat dripping, his face half hidden by the dark, and when the lightning flashed, she saw him, same jawline. Same eyes. Same impossible familiarity. Her breath caught. Eunho. She whispered, the man's lips curved, not quite a smile, you shouldn't be here, Kiera. Her heart thudded, it's you. It's really you. No, he said softly, stepping closer. The man you knew died that night. His eyes glimmered, not warm, but sharp, haunted. Then who are you? She asked. He leaned in, voice low and broken, the twin everyone thought was dead. The storm raged behind him, Kiera's world tilted, love, loss, and impossible truth colliding all at once, because standing before her wasn't a ghost, it was the man fate had sent back to claim what was once his, including her heart. The rooftop was soaked in moonlight and rain. For a heartbeat, the world stood still, the city far below, the hum of thunder in the distance, and two souls caught between love and ghosts. Kiera couldn't breathe. The man standing before her looked exactly like Eunho. The same sharp features, the same gaze that once made her heart skip. But his eyes. They were colder. Wilder. Like he'd been somewhere darker than the world could imagine. Eunho, she whispered again. He took a step closer, water dripping from his hair. Don't call me that. Then who are you? The corner of his lips twitched, not a smile, but a shadow of one. I told you. The one they buried. Lightning tore through the sky, illuminating his face, and in that flash, she saw a scar running from his temple down to his jaw. A mark she had never seen before. Her heart sank. Eun-woo. You remember, he said softly. Am I? He brushed his thumb along her cheek, not tenderly, but like someone testing if she was real. You still dream about him, don't you? She flinched. Stop. You wake up calling his name. I said stop. Her voice cracked, echoing into the night. He froze. For a heartbeat, guilt flickered across his face. Then it was gone. Go home, Kiera, he said quietly. Forget everything you saw tonight. If you wanted me to forget, you shouldn't have come back. Their eyes locked, a storm meeting its reflection. The next morning, Kiera couldn't shake the encounter. Was it grief twisting her memory, or had she truly seen him? She spent hours replaying every word, every look. Until exhaustion gave way to something else: suspicion. Why meet her there? Why the message written in Eun-ho's handwriting? Her hands trembled as she opened the flash drive again, searching through the folders. Buried deep inside one of them was a hidden document labeled Phoenix Protocol. The contents made her blood run cold. Blueprints. Financial records. A new identity order. Lee Eun-ho, deceased, signed by Kang Eun-woo. No, she whispered. He took his name. 2 weeks later, the Kang family held a press conference to announce the company's new CEO. Reporters filled the hall, cameras flashing. Kiera watched from the crowd, her breath shallow. Then he appeared, tall. Confident, the same man from the rooftop, wearing Eun-ho's ring, Eun-ho's suit, and Eun-ho's name. Ladies and gentlemen, the spokesperson announced, we present the miraculous survival of director Eun-ho Kang. The room erupted in gasps. Kiera's knees nearly gave out. He stood at the podium, expression perfectly calm, eyes scanning the crowd until they found hers. For just a second, he hesitated. A flicker of something human crossed his face: guilt, recognition, longing. Then he smiled, a smile that wasn't his brother's. It's good to be back, he said smoothly. The crowd clapped, cameras flashed. And Kiera understood the truth that froze her blood. The world believed Eun-ho had returned, but she knew it was Eun-woo standing there, alive, wearing his brother's name like a mask. Outside the building, as the press swarmed and reporters cheered the miracle resurrection, Kiera slipped away into the rain. Her phone buzzed, an unknown number. She answered, her voice trembling. Who is this? Silence. Then that same low voice from the night of the fire whispered, you shouldn't have come to the conference. Her hand went numb. What do you want from me? A pause, then the voice said, the truth always returns, Kiera. Just like the dead. Click, she stood frozen. Thunder rumbling in the distance, and somewhere in the city, the man she once loved, or his ghost. I was watching her again. The city was drenched in silver morning light when Kiera woke from another dream she couldn't escape. The dream was always the same: Eun-ho standing at the edge of the fire, reaching out for her. Only this time, when she took his hand, it was Eun-woo's eyes staring back. She jolted upright, heart hammering. The sheets were damp with sweat, the air heavy with silence. It had been 2 weeks since the miraculous return of Eun-ho Kang, and every day since, Kiera had felt like she was living in a lie. Kiera watched the morning news replay at the press conference again. There he was, the man the world believed was Eun-ho, smiling, answering questions, and speaking with the same calm confidence his brother once had. But she knew that smile, she knew that it wasn't his. He's pretending, she whispered. But why? Her phone buzzed, a message flashed across the screen, meet me at the old bridge. 9 p.m. Come alone. Her breath caught, the same initial as before. Her mind screamed don't go, but her heart whispered you have to. The night air was cold, sharp with the scent of rain. The old bridge stretched across the river to the same place where Eun-ho once told her he loved. Episode 1 end here. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Also click on the notification bell, so that you will get notified whenever a new story comes up. You can also go ahead to tell me the country you are watching from, so that I can make a story for you.